This king, unable to produce an heir, was pressured by his high officials to abdicate the throne. Under immense strain, he decided to have his beloved general, Hong Lim, sleep with the queen to secure a successor. This ill-fated scheme ultimately led to a tragic end for both the king and General Hong Lim.
Welcome to Nagi Recap!
The film draws inspiration from the real-life story of a Goryeo king, Gong Min, 1330–1370, and explores the passionate love triangle involving the king, his queen, and his closest confidant. Even as crown prince, the king had assembled his own elite guard of 36 young warriors, led by General Hong Lim. Hong Lim and the king had grown up together, practicing swordplay and playing music, which sparked a deep romantic bond between them. One day, Han Baek, one of the 36 guards, fled with his lover. Hong Lim led the guards in pursuit. He told Han Baek that if he wanted to leave, he would first have to defeat him in combat. When the king fell ill with a cold, Hong Lim carefully tended to him, feeding him spoonfuls of porridge. Since Han Baek was his subordinate, Hong Lim pleaded with the king to spare the man's life. He brought Han Baek back to the unit and warned that any repeat offense would cost the culprit his head. Vice General Sung Ki mocked Hong Lim for using flattering words to the king to beg for mercy. Hong Lim kicked Sung Ki to the ground and warned that anyone who spoke ill of the king again would lose his head. Hong Lim gently combed the king's hair. The king expressed deep gratitude, saying the honey tea Hong Lim prepared had helped him feel much better. He then asked whether, after so many years in the palace, Hong Lim ever thought of leaving like Han Baek. Hong Lim replied that he would always stay by the king's side to protect him. Suddenly the door opened, and the queen entered with medicine for the king. Seeing Hong Lim so close to her husband, she looked displeased. She informed the king that envoys from the Yuan dynasty had arrived and would cause trouble because there was still no heir. Later, the queen arranged a private meeting with General Hong Lim to thank him for saving one of her court ladies, the woman who had fled with guard Han Baek. In reality, her main purpose was to warn Hong Lim about the growing rumors surrounding the succession. Such talk could harm the royal family, so he needed to be more careful about his relationship with the king. One spring day, while the king and queen were enjoying tea and admiring flowers, the king complimented the queen's perfume pouch and asked Hong Lim if he would like to hear her sing. Hong Lim agreed. The queen and her ladies then performed music for the king. As everyone became absorbed in the melody, assassins suddenly fired arrows in an attempt on the king's life. The guards rushed forward to fight, but the surprise attack left them outnumbered. The king himself charged into battle. Seeing Hong Lim surrounded, the king rushed to his rescue and took a stab wound meant for him. Back at the palace, Hong Lim was harshly criticized by the ministers for failing to protect the king. The king summoned him anyway. Despite his serious injuries, he worried only about Hong Lim, asking if he was hurt and thanking him for saving his life. The guards' investigation revealed that the Japanese were behind the assassination. The entire unit petitioned the king to investigate the matter thoroughly. 2 weeks later, Yuan envoys arrived in Goryeo. The king was ordered to produce an heir quickly and to name his cousin as crown prince, otherwise he would have to abdicate. Afterward, the queen joined the king in court and declared that the lack of an heir was her fault alone. The ministers must not force the king to step down. The pressure on the king grew even heavier. That night, the queen came to the royal bedchamber, but the king told her to return to Yuan because he could not sleep with a woman. The queen, who loved him deeply, refused to leave. Seeing her devotion, the king stepped closer and revealed his plan. Instead of consummating the marriage with the queen himself, he passionately embraced Hong Lim that night, then instructed Hong Lim to take his place and sleep with the queen to produce an heir. Hong Lim protested, but the king trusted only him and did not want outsiders to know. So Hong Lim had no choice but to obey. On the first night of the plan, the queen arrived at the king's quarters. He kissed her lips, then stepped outside so Hong Lim could enter. Because of the vast difference in status and the lack of any prior emotional connection, Hong Lim tried his best but could not overcome his feelings. He was unable to proceed and abruptly left the room. The next morning, he begged the king's forgiveness for failing the mission. The king said there were only 2 more chances left. Hong Lim boldly asked why he had been chosen for this task. The king replied that he wanted the child to resemble Hong Lim. It was his deepest wish. On the second night, the king waited outside once again. Hong Lim and the queen continued with the plan. This time, the queen took the initiative to ease Hong Lim's tension. Their bodies began to intertwine, and the sounds of passion drifted to the king. He endured the surging emotions by focusing on his brushwork. On the third night, the queen and Hong Lim had grown more familiar with each other and shared the most intense feelings. The echoing sounds of their lovemaking made the king curious. He quietly approached the chamber, parted the door slightly, and looked inside. His eyes burned with jealousy and bitterness, emotions he could blame on no one. The next morning, the king waited for Hong Lim in the royal garden, unable to voice his jealousy. He asked how it felt to be with a woman. Hong Lim answered that since he was only following orders, he wasn't sure. He then requested permission to go to Buckland-do to investigate the assassination attempt personally. There, he and his guards questioned local merchants for clues. That night, memories of his intimate moments with the queen flooded his mind, and he began to miss her. Vice General Sung Ki reported to the king that they had identified the merchant linked to the assassination plot. But the man had already been killed by the Japanese. The king ordered a continued investigation into the officials involved. While walking through the streets, Hong Lim spotted a yuan-style perfume pouch for sale and bought one. Meanwhile, after sleeping with Hong Lim, the queen anxiously prayed to Buddha for a swift pregnancy. From behind a nearby screen, Hong Lim silently watched her as she prayed. Worried and missing Hong Lim, the king went in person to Hong Lim's residence. Late at night, when Hong Lim returned and found the king waiting, he was shocked. The king had feared something bad had happened to him. Seeing such deep concern moved Hong Lim's heart. That night, he slept with the king again. Looking at him, Hong Lim embraced the king sorrowfully, as if apologizing for something unspoken. The next day, while the guards were bathing in a stream, Hong Lim sat distracted, holding the perfume pouch he had bought at the market. About to let it float away, a guard suddenly approached, so he quickly hid it. The guard announced that the celebratory banquet the king had planned for Hong Lim and his comrades had been cancelled because the queen had fallen ill. Hong Lim grew worried for her. The king felt both anxious and hopeful, believing her illness might be a sign of pregnancy. However, the queen told him she was not pregnant. Her monthly cycle had arrived as usual. The king ordered the ministers to prepare prayers for the queen to conceive soon and asked them to bring her honey tea to reduce her fever. A minister reported that General Hong Lim had already sent some. At that moment, the king seemed to realize something. That evening, to test Hong Lim, the king praised the cooling effect of the honey tea and suggested he bring some to the queen. Although Hong Lim had already sent it, he replied that the royal physician was already taking care of her, so there was no need. Having sensed the truth, the king immediately summoned both Hong Lim and the queen. He announced that he would end the plan. Despite their efforts, there had been no result, so the queen should focus on her health first. As they left, the queen walked ahead while Hong Lim followed silently behind. Their eyes met, as if trying to hold on to something slipping away. Hong Lim went to the queen's palace and gave her the perfume pouch he had bought in the market. She was delighted because she had lost her original one during the assassination attempt. She thanked him for his sincerity. He left with a heart as tangled as silk threads. The day of the prayer ceremony arrived, and a grand banquet was held with continuous prayers for the queen to conceive a royal heir. Hong Lim secretly watched her and noticed she was wearing the perfume pouch he had given her. The king saw it and asked about it. She lied, saying it was another one she had brought from Yuan. The king did not dwell on it and continued enjoying the feast. Meanwhile, the treacherous officials whispered among themselves, fearing the prayers might actually help the queen become pregnant and make it harder to overthrow the king. While Hong Lim and his guards prepared a sword dance performance, one of the queen's ladies in waiting delivered a message. He went to the library and found the queen waiting for him. Passion flared between them. They shared fervent kisses and surrendered to physical desire. Outside, the king was being provoked into drinking while the traitors subtly mocked his lack of an heir. Inside the library, he remained unaware that Hong Lim and the queen had crossed the final line. Afterward, the queen gave Hong Lim her handkerchief. They returned to the banquet. Hong Lim watched the king playing music with a heavy heart, knowing he had betrayed the man who loved him most. A few days later, while Hong Lim was dining with the king, Vice General Sung Ki reported that the mastermind behind the plot had been uncovered. Hong Lim and his guards secretly followed the trail and discovered the traitors' meeting place. Hong Lim had arranged to meet the queen at the library, but he arrived late and she was already gone. The next day, the queen and her brother Taeyeon asked the king for permission to leave the palace to attend her niece's birthday. She made sure Hong Lim overheard her plans before departing. After the king granted leave, Hong Lim reported his own investigation trip. The king seemed displeased with his recent movements. Back in his room, Hong Lim took out the queen's handkerchief and gazed at it. His heart now clearly belonged to her. In recognition of Hong Lim's great service, The king prepared to gift him a powerful warhorse even finer than his own. He eagerly summoned Hong Lim to try it. But Hong Lim, overwhelmed by longing for the queen, followed her to Taeyeon's residence instead. One mistake led to another, and once more Hong Lim and the queen gave in to passion. Night fell, yet the king still waited for Hong Lim's return. He met Vice General Sung Ki and learned that Hong Lim had left early. The queen personally made flour rice cakes for Hong Lim to eat. She hinted that in Yuan, a girl gives such cakes to the man she loves. As Hong Lim ate one, tears welled up. He was torn by guilt, loving someone he should not, betraying the king who cherished him above all. At the palace, Vice General Sung Ki took advantage of the king's melancholy and offered to serve him, but was rejected. Late that night, Hong Lim returned to his quarters and was surprised to find the king waiting. Jealous and angry, the king demanded to know where he had been all night. Hong Lim claimed he had been in the library studying military strategy. To verify, the king questioned him deeply on tactics. Fortunately, Hong Lim answered everything correctly and escaped suspicion. Before leaving, the king told him to prepare for a sword duel the next day. The following morning, the king vented his anger through every strike in their sparring match. As a loyal subject, Hong Lim endured the king's fury. He also sensed that the king had begun to understand some of his recent actions. While sitting dejected, a guard informed Hong Lim that the traitors were gathering again, including the queen's brother, Taeyeon. They had all signed a secret letter calling for rebellion to overthrow the king. Hong Lim and his guards intercepted the letter and forced the captured traitor to reveal everyone who had signed it. The king ordered the execution of all who had signed the letter and instructed Hong Lim to go to Taeyeon's residence and eliminate him quietly to protect the queen's and the royal family's reputation. A grand marriage ceremony was held, and the king invited the traitors to attend, unknowingly inviting them to their graves. Before they could finish their wine, Hong Lim entered with his guards and massacred them all. He then rushed to Taeyeon's residence to carry out the king's order. The king informed the queen that he had ordered her brother's death for conspiring with the traitors to assassinate him. At Taeyeon's home, the man begged for mercy, saying everything he did was to secure a better life for his sister. Moved by thoughts of the queen, Hong Lim spared his life and later reported to the king that Taeyeon had been eliminated. The queen met Hong Lim at the library, where he told her he had sent her brother back to Yuan. However, the king had secretly learned of Hong Lim's change of heart and ordered Sung Ki to bring back Taeyeon's head. Sung Ki also revealed to the king that he had personally witnessed Hong Lim releasing Taeyeon. Everything became clear to the king at last. He summoned the queen and Hong Lim to discuss continuing the heir plan. This time, Vice General Sung Ki would sleep with the queen. Both the queen and Hong Lim protested strongly. The king spoke harshly to Hong Lim, implying that Hong Lim's own actions had forced this decision. That night, the queen visited Hong Lim and begged him to run away with her. But Hong Lim knew he had already wronged and hurt the king. So he refused. He went to the king, returned the sword the king had once given him, and asked to be executed for his mistakes. The king refused and left Hong Lim kneeling on the floor. The next morning, despite his anger, the king anxiously asked the eunuch whether Hong Lim was still kneeling. Meanwhile, the queen slit her wrists in defiance of the king's decision. In the late afternoon, the king summoned Hong Lim and gave him a chance to atone. He would be sent to the border for a few weeks to forget his relationship with the queen. He also reminded Hong Lim to sleep early since he had not rested the night before. A few days later, before Hong Lim's departure to the border, the king sat with him playing music and painting. He confessed he had always wanted to go hunting with Hong Lim in Liaodong but had never found the time. So instead, he painted a scene of the two of them hunting together to express his feelings. Hong Lim returned to his quarters to pack for the journey the next day. Suddenly, the queen's lady-in-waiting arrived with a message that the queen wished to see him. Hong Lim refused at first, but when told it would be their final meeting, he hesitated. That night, lying beside the king, he wrestled with the decision to meet her. Recalling that the lady-in-waiting had mentioned the queen was pregnant, he followed his heart and went to the library. The queen feared the king would kill the child, but Hong Lim reassured her that the king would never do such a thing. As he prepared to leave, the queen ran to embrace him. That embrace reignited the flame of passion. Once again, they gave in to their mistake. The king, noticing Hong Lim's absence, went to the queen's palace to check. Finding her gone, he ordered a full search for both of them. In the middle of a stormy night filled with thunder and lightning, the king braved the rain and headed to the library. Behind the bookshelves, he caught Hong Lim and the queen in the act. The king flew into a rage. Hong Lim made it even worse by declaring that he loved the queen. Humiliated and furious, the king ordered Sung Ki to castrate Hong Lim on the spot and throw him into prison. The queen fainted upon witnessing the mutilation. The royal physician then informed the king that the queen was pregnant. He knew full well the child was Hong Lim's, the very thing he had once wished for. To silence any scandal, the king had Sung Ki eliminate all the subordinates who had witnessed Hong Lim and the queen's affair. Still deeply in love with Hong Lim, the king visited the prison and urged him to return as before. Promising him anything, even the entire kingdom, Hong Lim remained silent. Meanwhile, the queen, though aware the king had accepted the pregnancy, feared Hong Lim would still be killed. She wrote a letter to guard Han Baek, the man Hong Lim had once begged the king to spare. Some of the guards broke into the prison to rescue Hong Lim, but he refused to leave. Han Baek said the queen was waiting outside, so Hong Lim finally followed them and escaped. When the king learned of the breakout, he slapped Sung Ki violently for allowing it. He questioned the queen about Hong Lim's whereabouts, but she claimed ignorance. He ordered Sung Ki to take her ladies-in-waiting away where the queen could not see them. Hong Lim insisted on returning to the palace. Ignoring his comrades' warnings, he mounted a horse and rode off. After a short distance, he reflected on his empty life and decided to turn back with the guards, only to discover they had already been captured. The king tortured the guards who had helped Hong Lim but gained no information. Hong Lim hurried back to the capital and saw the severed heads of his comrades and the queen's lady-in-waiting displayed on the city gate. Below the lady's head hung the perfume pouch he had given the queen. Believing the queen had also been killed, he broke down in anguished sobs. Hong Lim disguised himself among soldiers returning from Yuan. That evening, the king hosted a welcoming banquet for them. Sung Ki reminded the king to rest. Upon returning to his chambers, the king found the queen waiting. She begged him to remove the heads from the gate. She feared Hong Lim would worry and rush back, but the king refused. Hong Lim changed back into his uniform and headed straight to the king's quarters. The queen was escorted back to her palace by Sung Ki. She told him that everyone who knew about the pregnancy had to die and urged him to kill the king. Recognizing the danger ahead, Sung Ki agreed and gathered guards to stage a rebellion. As for Hong Lim, he knocked out the sentries and entered the king's room. Seeing him return, the king felt both joy and sorrow. Hong Lim knelt before the king and declared he had come to take his life. They dueled fiercely. Hong Lim slashed in half the painting the king had drawn of the two of them hunting. The king, who treasured that painting, no longer held back. He wounded Hong Lim repeatedly. Sung Ki and the guards rushed in, but the king forbade anyone from interfering. Sung Ki stood by and watched the fight continue. A powerful strike from the king broke Hong Lim's sword. Hong Lim was stabbed in the chest. Heartbroken, the king asked if Hong Lim had ever loved him. Hong Lim replied that he had never loved him, not even once, then lunged forward and stabbed the king, who collapsed. Sung Ki rushed in and stabbed Hong Lim. The queen ran toward them but was dragged away by the guards. Hong Lim saw that the queen was safe. Only then did he fully realize the immense love the king had given him. The king had offered everything beautiful in his life until the very end. Hong Lim struggled to turn his face toward the king for one last look. There was no longer any chance to correct his mistakes. The film ends with an image of Hong Lim and the king riding together on a hunt. Perhaps from that moment, the king was finally free from every duty and responsibility, able to live as he truly wished. Thank you for watching this movie review on our channel. Please hit the subscribe button to stay updated with the latest videos. And don't forget to like this video to support us in making more content. See you next time.
En tout chemin, en tout lieu, il ne parle que du bon Dieu, il ne parle que du